Hello. Did you grow up watching these guys? If you did, then you're perhaps like me and you're somewhere from Eastern Europe. And with this Ukraine negotiations coming up and all the political talk that coming out of the United States, it has led me to wonder whether it is actually possible for an American to understand what the threat of Russia means to us in Eastern Europe. And I mean, it's not that Americans are stupid, it's just that they don't possess the cultural heritage that would be required to actually understand what's going on. I mean, they don't have grandparents that were imprisoned in Siberia. Well, some refugees would do, but the white America has been living in relative safety in perhaps the greatest democratic experiment, and at least the most successful one, for centuries. So whereas in Eastern Europe we still have a cultural memory that is deeply ingrained with deep distrust of anything Russian, and we have like memories of ethnic cleansing, and in the worst parts of Eastern Europe, you have memories of like Russian secret police. Me being from Finland, I'm like, I didn't have to experience that, but still the memory of the war is and how they tried to invade us is still, we still have it, and our cultures here, they are full of expressions and mannerisms and all these cultural memories, full of always being suspicious of Russians, never really trusting them, but the Americans, they don't have that. They are a very different cultural background. They are, at least for them, it's much easier to be fooled by Kremlin's propaganda because they don't have this inherent suspicion towards what's coming from there. And I think that's why propaganda has been so damn successful. And even like very smart Americans, like really obviously smart Americans, they just fall hook, line, and sinker for these fabricated half-truths which Russia uses to further, like Russophobia, for example. It was a fabrication of the 1990s and 2000s, early 2000s, which was kind of using this anti-colonialist narrative that yes, this old cultural heritage of like everybody is so suspicious of Russia because its imperial history is so brutal. So they took this opportunity to try and make us question ourselves, and then they have the nerve to follow that up with accusations that we didn't give them a fair chance. Like, that is just so deep bullshit. That is vranio. That they claim that we didn't give them a fair chance. You know, like everybody, I remember like really looking at, you know, like what my grandparents had taught me, that am I Russophobic? Like, yeah, I could be Russophobic, you know, like, Yeah, I gave it a really good chance of that perhaps they are wrong. And I mean, all of Europe gave Russia, a second chance for sure. Like, and they were allowed into all, international trade organizations. Everything was given to them, like, come on, just be like us. They were even invited to NATO. And then they have the nerve again to be claiming that NATO expanded. Whereas everybody is just actually running away from Russia because they can see what's going on. They could see Russia starting to, in Chechen War, Georgia, Ingushetia, like Africa, Syria, and even 2014 when Russia invaded Donbass and Crimea in Ukraine. Europe still gave Russia a fair chance. We basically, looked between our fingers that, okay, sure. You still have some problems, but they'll come around. But then finally, now it's time to look at the horse in the mouth, is that Russia is what it is, and it has not been successfully able to shake its imperialism. And this is where we are. That all that Russophobia it was embedded to us. It was for a reason. I mean, to be Russophobic is logical. Because look at what happened. Look at them. Look at them massacring. Look at them ethnic cleansing. Look at them colonializing. Look at them lying. Lying. Look at them breaking every single contract they ever make. Look at them blaming everybody else for their own mishaps and their own problems. Always being the goddamn victim. And then it's like, yeah, always being special and not like everybody else. It's always the Russians who don't want to be a part of the groups. They want to be the ruler. They want to be special. I mean, we gave them all the chances. We gave them nothing but chances. Yeah. Americans, they don't have this. They don't have this generational, again and again, double crossing by the Russians. Every time is like always being just let down. When you give them a chance, they kick you in the nuts. And Americans, they don't, they have a little bit from like the Cold War, but for them it's more like, like they're very isolated on their little island over there, and it's just the nuclear weapons that concerns them. Uh, that's they don't have like a real and present danger. So like, how could they? Like, how could they ever? Like at least it's very disadvantageous, position to try and actually understand what Russian aggression means. It's like we here who live next door, we have a very good chance at, because our cultural heritage is so full of stories of Russian wrongdoing and just basically Russian colonialization. And yeah, I mean, we are lucky. We are the lucky ones here in Finland and Estonia and Latvia, Lithuania. Kind of, we are probably last of our tribe. That people who had our culture and language, that they've been Russified for most of them. It's really hard to put it even to words, because like it's just the experience of knowing something dangerous is beyond your borders, and it can come anytime. It's like the alertness is just, and that's this for generations or for centuries. It's just not the same for you who live in America. It's just not the same. And so that's why Russia has it so easy, because you lack the cultural distrust of those who have actually had to deal with Russia. You are kind of easy, innocent victims. And it's not that big. You're not stupid. No, you're not stupid. I mean, for the credit of smart Americans, they definitely listen, and then they take down their videos like this Johnny Harris guy. When people come up, push back on their logical but completely wrong conclusions. And I mean, you should listen to your immigrants. Like, you have a lot of people who escaped Russian oppression there. And then for that generational trauma, maybe you should speak to Black people. I mean, there's miraculous scholars of how postmodern, like, structural oppression works, especially from in the Black community. This is all the same. What's going on with Russia and Eastern Europe is basically a racist enterprise, where the Russians themselves, they use a very racist language. My people, they have a N-word for us, and they have an N-word for everybody, and they do use the N-word for, it's just that for them it's like the Slavs, and then it's always like something about the Slavic race. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening.